When the richest family in the state decided to adopt me, I thought I'd hit the jackpot. That was until an hour ago, when I had to climb out the window and run. Because if I stayed, nobody would ever see me again. Oh no, it's them! Hi, I'm Abby. I ended up in an orphanage when I was 6. Right away, everyone slapped labels on me. Troublemaker, impossible, difficult. Before that, I'd grown up in a rough neighborhood with irresponsible parents. By the time I was 6, I already knew how to talk back, fight, and bite back when somebody came after me. Because nobody was gonna stand up for me except myself. At the orphanage, I was a lone wolf. I stayed away from everyone, trusted nobody, and never made friends. For years, I watched other kids get adopted. First the babies, then the well-behaved kids, then the talented ones, athletes, musicians. But potential parents never seemed to like me. They'd look at me, then immediately turn their attention to someone else. Then Mia showed up. She had huge eyes and the biggest smile I'd ever seen. Do you even realize where you are? Of course. I just choose to stay positive no matter what. That's kind of stupid. Not at all. The world is better than it seems, and you're better than you pretend to be. Her life hadn't been easy either. She had plenty of pain in her past too. But somehow, Mia never became bitter. Against all odds, we became friends. For the first time in my life, I had a real friend. We even made friendship bracelets for each other. But Mia had one flaw. She was way too good for a place like that. So it wasn't exactly surprising that she got adopted almost immediately. It happened while I was stuck in the hospital for 2 weeks with a really bad case of the flu. When I came back, I found out Mia was already living with a family. Everything happened so fast that we didn't even get a chance to say goodbye. All she left behind was my broken heart and a note, "I promise I'll write." But I never got a single message from Mia, and her phone was disconnected. I tried asking the orphanage manager for her new phone number or address, but the grumpy old man just got mad at me.
That's against the rules. Go back to your room before I punish you.
I was so angry. I wanted to grab a fire extinguisher and turn his office into a foam party. But then I suddenly remembered Mia's cheerful voice. The world is better than it seems, and you're better than you pretend to be. And just like that, my anger faded away. Maybe I was the problem. That was the first time I decided to try being calmer, easier to deal with. Either I learn how to be the kind of girl people want to take home, or I stay here forever. Because let's be honest, nobody wants to adopt a puppy that bites. Word got around pretty fast that Abby had gone soft. Naturally, the local troublemakers who shared one brain cell started provoking me just for fun. To keep myself from getting into a fight, I just counted to 10 in my head. What I didn't know was that the director and some well-dressed couple had been watching the whole thing from down the hall. They stepped in and chased the boys away.
Pick on someone your own size.
Oh, you poor thing. They didn't hurt you too badly, did they? The woman looked at me like she just found her buried treasure and said, "We finally found you." They were Mr. and Mrs. Crawford, one of the wealthiest families in the state. And they wanted to adopt me. I thought I'd won the lottery. If people like easy, well-behaved kids that much, then that's exactly who I'll keep pretending to be. Adoptions usually take forever, but the Crawfords were so rich they basically threw money around until all the paperwork got fast-tracked. So before I knew it, I was living in an incredible penthouse with an amazing view of the city. A hot tub, my own room with a huge walk-in closet, house staff, a private school. Suddenly, I had all of it. But most importantly, I finally had a family. My adoptive parents were incredibly kind and generous, and they had a biological daughter named Scarlett. Welcome home, sis. Scarlett was exactly what you'd expect a rich heiress to be. Beautiful, polished, and completely confident. But on top of all that, she was actually really sweet. But you know what they say. If something seems too good to be true, it probably is. And I was about to learn that the hard way. At my new school, everyone seemed genuinely friendly. Well, everyone except Robert.
All this fuss over some random hamster.
Did he just call me a hamster? The old Abby would have put him in this place immediately. But the new Abby was supposed to stay quiet and avoid drama. During one of the breaks, I saw Scarlett and Robert arguing about something. Is everything okay? Totally, sis. I just told Robert to stop acting like an idiot. I tried to avoid Robert completely so I wouldn't end up in another conflict. But a few days later, someone scrawled a message across my locker in white chalk. Dirty foster kid. Only one person could have written something that disgusting. It had to be Robert. Yeah, I can believe that. Robert's girlfriend just dumped him and now he's angry at the whole world. Just ignore him. She reached over to hug me, and that's when I noticed traces of white chalk on her fingers. I wanted so badly to believe it was just a coincidence. After all, Scarlett and her parents had always been nice to me. Summer break had finally arrived. Everyone came pouring out of school, laughing and talking about their plans. I was heading out too when I ran into Robert. At first, he just walked past me, but then something made him turn around.
Don't get too attached to your room.
What?
You think you're the first one? You're not. You're just the next hamster.
I was still trying to process what he'd said when Scarlett cheerfully put her arm around mine. How about a shopping spree to celebrate summer break? We wandered through endless boutiques, checked out clothes, and laughed a lot. More than anything, I left feeling like Scarlett and I were actually real sisters. But then the fairy tale came crashing down. Abby, did you take something without paying for it? Of course not.
Miss, I'm going to have to check your bag.
When he pulled a silk scarf out of my bag, I nearly lost my balance from shock. I don't understand how that got in there.
I'm going to have to call the police.
Don't worry, I'll take care of it. Here, that's more than enough to cover the scarf.
But
Please excuse my sister. She was living in an orphanage not that long ago and is still getting used to the real world. Scarlett winked at me like she was saying, I've got this. I've always got your back. But there was something so mocking in her voice. The old Abby would have exploded right then and there. But I didn't want to lose my family. So once again, I forced myself to stay calm. What happened at the store stuck with me, like someone had dragged a muddy boot across a brand new white t-shirt. But eventually, I let it go. Most of the time, Scarlett was nice and sweet. And then there were the times when it felt like she turned into a completely different person.
Who said you could take my dress?
You did when you gave it to me yesterday.
Liar. This dress is way too classy for you.
How about this? Then she knocked over the flower I'd spent months growing. I clenched my teeth and stayed silent. But my gut told me things were only going to get worse. It was probably time to talk to my parents about Scarlett. That evening, Mr. and Mrs. Crawford came home with a man they called Dr. Harris. The three of them went into Scarlett's room together. No matter how hard I tried, I couldn't hear a thing. When the door finally opened, I ducked behind the corner.
Scarlett seems calmer than last time. The new girl is having a positive effect on her.
The new girl? My stomach tightened as I remembered what Robert said.
You think you're the first one?
After one of the staff members walked the doctor out, I approached my adoptive parents and asked who he was.
He's our family therapist. Scarlett's been under a lot of stress because of school and all the pressure she deals with. Sometimes she needs to talk things through with Dr. Harris.
We keep Scarlett's struggles private so they don't affect the family's reputation. So we'd appreciate it if you kept this to yourself too, sweetheart.
Okay, but why did he say the new girl? Have you had foster kids before?
To be honest, we did try once before, but that girl turned out to be too much for us. She stole things, took cars for joy rides, got herself into all kinds of trouble. In the end, we had no choice but to send her back.
But you're completely different, Abby. You're a great influence on Scarlett.
I wanted to believe them, but being around Scarlett was getting harder and harder. One minute, she could be the sweetest girl on the planet. The next, she turned into a complete monster. Sometimes she'd shove me or start yelling at me for no reason at all. And I put up with it because I didn't want to end up back in that cold, heartless orphanage. But everyone has a breaking point, and eventually, I hit mine. Scarlett and I were checking out a new gym when, completely out of nowhere, she threw a dumbbell at the mirror. Then she pointed at me with the most innocent expression imaginable.
It was my sister. She has trouble controlling her anger sometimes.
I didn't make a scene in public, but the second we got home, I threw every awful thing Scarlett had ever done right back in her face.
Girls, stop!
Do you have any idea what your daughter has been doing? By the way, I figured it out a long time ago. Robert didn't write that message on my locker, you did. And I think he knows something about you. I'm texting him right now.
Oh, go ahead. You two deserve each other.
Abby, Scarlett, let's not fight.
I have an idea. Why don't we all go to our chalet in the mountains? We can go skiing. A family vacation will help you forget all these disagreements.
We both nodded, then immediately turned our backs on each other. That evening, I came back to my room after a shower. Just like I'd promised, I was going to text Robert, but my phone and laptop had been destroyed. And there was a hammer lying right next to them. I called my adoptive parents and showed them what Scarlett was capable of.
She was just blowing off some steam. We'll buy you a new phone tomorrow, any model you want.
But the next morning turned out very differently. Mr. and Mrs. Crawford didn't even let us finish breakfast before rushing us into the car.
Sorry, Abby, we won't have time to stop for a phone. They're predicting a snowstorm in the mountains. We need to get to the chalet before the weather gets worse.
And that's how I ended up in that stupid chalet with no way to contact anyone. But the real icing on the cake was discovering that my bedroom door could be locked from the outside. That meant they could lock me in there whenever they wanted, like a puppy in a cage. My adoptive parents were a nasty surprise too. At the chalet, it was like they stopped pretending to be nice. Their fake smiles disappeared and were replaced by irritation and indifference. They didn't even try to break up fights between me and Scarlett anymore. When she casually knocked my dinner onto the floor with that smug little smile, Mr. and Mrs. Crawford didn't even blink. That's when it hit me. They knew nobody could see us up here. No staff, no neighbors, no witnesses. No family drama could damage their reputation in the chalet, which meant Charlotte could do whatever she wanted. I'd become her toy, her pet, her hamster in a cage. Wait, hamster. Oh my god, Robert knew the whole time. Then why didn't he warn me properly? In the middle of the night, I woke up to the sound of metal clinking right next to my ear. When I opened my eyes, I saw Scarlett running out of my room with a nasty laugh. A pair of scissors gleamed in her hand. My heart instantly stopped, but what scared me even more was knowing my adoptive parents wouldn't care. That night, I couldn't fall back asleep. The next morning, when I heard Scarlett getting into the shower, I went into her room. I wanted to find her phone. Instead, I found something else. There was a small box on her bed with a label that read, "Souvenirs." I opened it. Inside were random hair clips, rings, and little trinkets. Then an icy chill shot through my whole body. I saw a lock of my hair. That's why Scarlett had come into my room that night. She had been collecting another souvenir. Then I spotted a friendship bracelet. I would have recognized it anywhere. I made it for Mia myself, and right beside it was Mia's phone. Oh my god! That's why she never wrote me! The Crawfords adopted her too? They told me they'd sent a troubled girl back to the orphanage. But that was a complete lie. Mia was never difficult. And she definitely never went back. So then, where was Mia now? Who said you can touch my stuff? Scarlett's meltdown was so intense, I swear the walls were shaking. A minute later, my adoptive parents came running in. Instead of calming Scarlett down, they grabbed me and dragged me to my room. I kicked and struggled, demanding answers. What did you do to Mia? How many other girls like us has your crazy daughter treated like toys? They didn't answer a single question. They just shoved me into my room and locked the door. I pounded on it for what felt like forever. And when I finally ran out of energy, I heard Mr. Crawford's voice in the hallway.
Looks like we'll have to get rid of this one too.
That's when everything finally clicked. Mia got tired of putting up with Scarlett's behavior and stopped being the easy, obedient girl they wanted. So they got rid of her. Now it was my turn. It was time to save myself. Time to bring back the old Abby. The one who knew how to fight back. The one who knew how to bite. I have to get out of here. Otherwise, nobody's ever going to see me again. Just like I never saw Mia again. I waited until nightfall and made sure everyone was asleep. Then I wrapped myself in a blanket and threw a chair through the window. Glass flew everywhere, and I ran into the darkness like a bird escaping from a cage. I had no idea where I was going. I just needed to get away from that house, away from the Crawfords. Then suddenly, a pair of headlights blinded me in the darkness, like the eyes of some giant beast. Oh no, it's them! Thankfully, I was wrong. It was a truck driver. She had a weathered but very kind face.
Hey, kiddo. What are you doing out here all by yourself?
Her name was Ruth. She let me warm up inside her truck and gave me hot tea from a thermos. I told her everything, every last detail. There was no pity in Ruth's eyes, just genuine understanding. Then she clenched her fists with determination.
They won't get away with this.
By early morning, Ruth had driven me into town, and we walked into a police station. But the officer who listened to my story didn't even pretend to believe me. Honestly, I don't know what I expected. A foster kid going up against the richest family in the state? A little later, another officer came over and told us he'd called my adoptive parents.
Abby, you've certainly caused quite a commotion. Come on, let's go home. Don't keep the officers from doing actual police work.
No, don't send me back with them! I shook my head and tried to pull away, but the officers wouldn't even let Ruth step in and defend me. Then, out of nowhere, Robert walked into the station with a man in a suit. It was his father.
We'd like to give a statement against the Crawfords. I hope we're not too late.
It turned out Robert's father was a respected attorney, so they actually listened to him. And once they did, the whole case started moving. Here's what I learned. Robert and Mia became friends after the Crawfords adopted her. She confided in him when Scarlett started spiraling out of control and her adoptive parents took away her phone. Then Mia suddenly disappeared. Robert raised the alarm, but Scarlett threatened him. She said that if he didn't keep his mouth shut, her parents would make sure his father lost his job. So he stayed quiet. He tried to warn me, but Scarlett stepped in again. As for the Crawfords themselves, they adopted kids as living toys for Scarlett. She could take out all her anger on us while still looking like the perfect daughter in public. Kids from orphanages either had nobody to complain to or nobody believed them. And whenever one of those kids finally reached their limits, the Crawfords would send them off to a residential school for troubled teens and simply go back to the orphanage for a replacement. Once the truth came out, Mia and the other teens were brought back from that school for troubled teens. Scarlett, on the other hand, was sent there herself. If anyone belonged in a cage, it was her. The real monster. Right now, her parents are awaiting trial. But that's only the beginning. Dr. Harris will be facing trial too for covering up Scarlett's dangerous behavior for years. So will the orphanage director who ignored the suspicious adoptions. And even the people running the school who helped hide away inconvenient kids. The three of us were just teenagers who dared to stand up to manipulative adults. And we won. I'm happy to have Mia back in my life. But I never went back to the orphanage. Ruth, the woman who saved me, became my guardian. We live in a small apartment above an auto repair shop. There are no panoramic windows and no house staff, but every door locks only from the inside. I gave up who I was so I could become easy and convenient for everyone else. But I survived because I learned how to stand up for myself again. Not by biting everyone who got in my way, but by saying, no, you don't get to treat me like that.